Hello. What I'm about to tell you might come as a shock, might not, doesn't really matter. Zoe Quinn, otherwise known as Chelsea, uh, Miss Proper Victim, Miss Victim Blaming, Miss I Am a Victim, Miss I Am in Cahoots with Anita Sarkeesian, Brianna Wu, Gamergate's After Me, Zoe Quinn, you know the one, Depression Quest, had sex with a bunch of game developers and reviewers to be able to get her game published. That one get lots of prominence for it, and it was a terrible game. The one who ripped off a bunch of Patreon or patrons on Patreon for a game that was never finished. Something like Chuck Tingle or whatever. That Zoe Quinn has come back into the light again, as she likes to do every year or so, or every few years. Back in the light again, in the prominence of mass media. Modern journalism, if you will. She dropped this bombshell on Twitter, the cesspool of the internet, about a game developer and music composer of a game called Night in the Woods. He also did some other things in the past, but Night of the Woods is his most prominent game. What I'm about to say might come as a shock, might not, doesn't really matter. Zoe Quinn, Chelsea, whatever her last name is, I can't see it right now, had quoted that during the time that her abuser, Alex, I put those in very, very light air quotes, Alex, the guy who was the Night in the Woods developer, she had accused him in 2012, give or take, of abusing her and essentially raping her and all these other things in the short relationship that they had when she visited him on a one-way ticket to Winnipeg. Now, Zoe, being the type of person she is, who is very malicious and very much, I'm not rising to prominence anymore, the world doesn't revolve around me, so I need to find a way to get it, drops this bombshell on about Alex, and Alex gets fired from his company. The developers of Night of the Woods, I don't know their name right now. So his entire team let him go. They decide that he's no longer a person they want to have any interest with. And I won't deny that Alex might have been a violent person. That's no make mistakes of that. His sister even has kind of said that in the post. Again, Twitter is a cesspool. I want to make this very clear. The problem I have, and Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers, he also discusses, Zoe Quinn needs to be held accountable for her actions. There's one thing to say Gamergate is after me, that the boogeyman is after me, that I'm getting harassed online. Okay, I'm getting harassed in real life. That's something. There's maybe some legitimacy, because I know people were pissed off at her, myself included. Especially for her press conference with the UN with Anita Sarkeesian trying to say cyberbullying is bad. I've always said something. People who are the ones who are prolific about self-help and about helping others are some of the worst people out there. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. There is something to discuss here. I did some digging and I found through the internet on a forum that there was posts from her supposed capturing, and I put that in air quotes again, in 2012. April 2012, when this supposed stuff had happened. Fast forward a decade later, essentially almost a decade later, 8 years later to be specific, Alex is 7 years, sorry. Alex is chastised on social media. He is blacklisted from the independent game, or from the games industry. His music's good, but he's blacklisted. People don't want anything to do with him, and in doing so, he kills himself. This guy reportedly was on his way to recovery, to improving from his depression, and so forth. A person who designs a game called Depression Quest bullies someone. That's what it is. It is bullying. Cyberbullying, but actual bullying, to the point that they kill themselves. Night in the Woods says here, I'll grab my glasses so I can actually read. Bear with me a minute. The irony of Night in the Woods is this. It's about a mentally ill person that is trying to reconnect with old friends. This mentally ill person is destructive and mean to others, but they don't really mean to be like that. In the end, the friends stay together and save their friend. The other characters also have some problems, like fear about the future. It's a lot about growing up and how everyone deals with it differently. And the music is also really great. So I'm gonna take those off. Night in the Woods, a game about fear in the future, about depression, about all these things. A developer who is trying to channel their thoughts and prayers, their thoughts into this, and they're trying to project their feelings about things. Maybe through making this game, they felt really crappy about, throwing things at Chelsea and by calling her names and belittling her. But the things she accused him of, I'm not saying, I want to make this clear, okay? If someone is raped, I'm not saying don't believe them. Not at all. What I'm saying, very simply put, is when you have a person who is very much a diabolical human being, someone who claims to be a self-professed witch, someone who possibly practices witchcraft, someone who has made it their mission to destroy people, someone who funnels money from an organization, reportedly, or, those things, right? Someone who done very naughty things. Someone who has slept with multiple people. Those are the type of people that we don't believe. And the reason I'm saying that is it's very possible Alex did some bad things to her, as I've said. It's very possible other things have happened to her. But she's not in the right either. And the problem is simply this. A person had killed himself because they killed themselves. There was no atonement. There was no chance to say, hey, I'm sorry. There's no chance for any of that. Very serious accusations were laid out against this person. That's the problem. Very serious accusations are laid out against this person, and now he's dead. Now he can't defend himself. And all we have is the court of public opinion. And Chelsea's recollection of things, which, again, going off of this forum that I have found, might not be accurate. Might not be accurate at all. That isn't to say when you are being held up in a basement, kidnapped and tied up and stuff, that it's possible that you have access. You don't have access to the internet 24/7. But if it is to be believed, and she was the one who was tweeting this stuff, which you look at the history, it very much is very much 99.9999% true. She was very happy to the point that she made a plushie of his character from his game. And she's tweeting at him, he's tweeting at her, she's tweeting at other people. You see the problem here? For someone who was forced and basically felt like she was Stockholm Syndrome, that's the best way I could put it. My words, not hers. I don't see it. I don't see it. And the problem is the left journalist media, like the left's on the journalists on the left side had said that he's a terrible person, this, that, and they egged him on. There's a reason I call it Soitaku and Soyagon. Or Polytrash. Because, and here's the other thing too, I followed up with that Polygon article. There's obviously no mention of his death. All it had said in that one is that she accused him, and that was basically it. There was no follow-up about, hey, this guy's now dead. Here's our follow-up. If you think there is corruption in the media, this is very relevant of it. I'm probably going to get this video taken down. I'll probably get DMCA'd for what I'm saying. But it doesn't matter. Zoe Quinn is a bad person. This just proves it. I'm definitely saying that people who get raped, assaulted, women, men, doesn't matter, whatever gender you are, go to the police first. Don't go to the court of public opinion. because the police can actually do something. But think about it this way. You're in an industry that you love. You're a indie darling. And someone says, oh yeah, 8 years ago this person did this to me. And now your entire legacy is destroyed, it's tainted, it's tarnished, to the point that no one wanted to like your work when they did before. Hypocrites, if you will. I'm going to be honest, I've never played Night in the Woods. I watched, what's that guy's name? Super Bunny Hop's video about it. And he said it was it's a well done game. Was wanting to pick it up, but you know what? I still might play it, not out of solace or out of or solidarity. I might not play it because of the symbolism or whatever, but just because I know it's a pretty solid title. I just never got around to playing it. My point is, there needs to be onus. There needs to be someone. Zoe needs to see a court for this, for all of the things she's done. And people like her need to own up to their mistakes. No half-assed apologies. There needs to be some sincere work, but that's the thing. That is the thing here. There's not going to be. Because if there's no accountability after a decade, there's not going to be accountability after a death. I just want to leave a home point. There is a problem in our industry, in the games industry, that was brought to light with Gamergate. And it got spun to no end, from both sides, by the way, but it got spun from no end, or to no end, I should say, by people that didn't fully understand it, that believe all women are diabolical. But it got spun into this misogynistic, sexist issue when it was more all about ethics in journalism, in general, not just games journalism in general, about reporting on the truth, no matter how hard it hurts, as Three Dog says in Fallout 3. That is what journalism is. The first rule of journalism is always report the truth. Unfortunately, a lot of these journalists are English college dropouts or English grads who could not find anything and realized, well, I'm good at English, might as well write about things. I have no interest in video games, so I'm just going to go for the industry that pays the best. That's the reality of it. And unfortunately, that's the world we live in, to the point that someone's life got ruined. That's the thing I want you to take into consideration here. Someone's actually killed himself because of this. If Alex was guilty, then he should have served jail time. Then when in 2012, when this stuff would have happened, Zoe should have went to the police and said, hey, to the Winnipeg police and said, hey, this guy has raped me, this guy has hurt me, this guy has held me hostage. But instead, she happily tweets, goes on DeviantArt, does a whole thing. That's my problem. That's always been my problem with this woman. Ever since I've heard of her, years ago. Guys, we're in 2019, and Depression Quest came out in 2013. Or 2014. Just think about that for a second. This is a woman who has doxed herself and got called out for it and then said, no, I didn't, when there was evidence and proof of it. There are serious accusations being thrown on social media without any recourse. There's accusations being thrown out on social media for whatever reason, because people love to kick other people when they're down. I'm going to say it again. Was Alex, the developer and the music composer of Night in the Woods, a bad person? Did he do bad things? Sure, he did bad things. Very likely. But was he a bad person? Was he deserving of death? That's the real thing to think about, guys. Was this man, who's probably in his 30s, did he deserve to die? Does Zoe Quinn deserve to die? God, no. But she deserves to be held accountable for her actions into a court of law. not a court of public opinion. And unfortunately, as I've heard, a court of public opinion just, all it does is taint someone for life. They lose their job. They get thrown into the gulags, essentially. Not the actual gulags, but like the social-based gulags. They can no longer work in that industry again. If you had spent 20 years of your life in an industry and you just had a bad experience with someone, bad relationship, and that person had some prominence, and it blew up, your life could be ruined before you even know it. I wanted to talk about this because it's been on my mind for a while about this, and it hurts to see another fellow Canadian be put up like this. So, you can find it. You can find what I found. It's not very difficult. I just didn't want to mention it. And I'm just going to leave it with this. She effing tweeted her damn phone numbers to some dude. She was supposedly in a relationship with Alex, and she tweeted her numbers to some guy. She put her nudes on DeviantArt. I have not seen them. Not that I ever want to. I just wanted to read. That's why I put my glasses on. I don't believe a single thing that comes out of this woman's mouth until she has evidence to prove it. When you have to go to the UN to say, stop cyberbullying me, but you cyberbully people, I chuckle at that and laugh. And Miss Sarkeesian, you're also not in the right as well. There is definitely a lot of misinformation from all sides, but from what I've seen from this woman's track record, from not delivering a product that you've asked people for money on and people have donated, and you're taking a long trip in Japan. That's going back to Zoe, and same with Anita not finishing your YouTube series, saying the gamers are after me. There's a reason why people don't take you seriously. This just shows it. That's it. That's all. I'm probably going to get blacklisted from the internet. Doesn't really matter. I wanted to talk about this because it actually hurts me to see Canadians be treated poorly by other Canadians. If you think the stereotype of all Canadians are nicer is right, well, there you go. It's incorrect. See you guys later. Bye-bye.